Please. Okay.
Can everyone virtually hear us now?
Everyone in the room.
Yes.
Yes.
So then I have to.
Mic's off.
Yes.
There we go. You can mute that. There we go.
How about now? Can everyone still hear me?
Yes.
Perfect.
It wasn't.
Ooh, I like it.
I forgot to unmute it.
I apologize. So in the beginning, I'm not going to belabor it. We did introductions. I introduced my team. We'll have more time to go through that as we get through the presentation. And then everyone in our in-person room went through who they are and kind of like what their journey is in the industry and what they want to get out of the programming. The slide switched to equity programming and community outreach department objectives. I just want to make sure that it's clear through this, what I was saying before, our snafu, is that through our community outreach initiatives, I want to make sure that the neighborhoods, the peoples that have been most disproportionately harmed are prioritized. I want to make sure that everyone has an entryway into the industry, no matter what your background is, no matter where you came from. If you are harmed in the industry for something that was previously illegal and now is legal, you should have a priority in the industry. Strategic partnerships and engagement, we want to increase our outreach to women, veterans, racial minority populations for obvious reasons, right? Those are underserved populations. Those are populations that have usually been overlooked, and making sure that we are making those connections and getting feedback of how we can essentially evolve policy to make sure everyone feels included. And equity programming. We want to grow our technical assistance and training program to our approved equity population to make sure that you have the tools and knowledge to exceed. As our gentleman Zeke said here, he feels like the regulations are daunting. Like, we want to create programming that allows you to understand the different facets of what you need to do, no matter what your journey is. And that is exactly what we aim to do. Next slide. So we're going to start with the social equity program overview. Does everyone technically have, what is your idea of when you signed up for this program, at no matter what point that juncture is, what the social equity program is or is about, or what you thought you might get out of it? Outside of, like, once you got through eligibility, did you have an idea of what the programming is, and what did you think that was?
I thought it was gonna be explaining the licensing process, everything like that, basically educating people on how they can get in. It's not an automatic thing, but it's providing you with the resources to take it upon yourself to get in.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Did you want to add something to that? No? No? I thought you might want to say something. And you can go ahead, yeah. It's a small room, so please, feel free.
I was looking forward to the opportunity to hobnob with industry professionals, and also perhaps to take advantage of some mentorship opportunities,
Networking. Okay, awesome.
For me, I guess, expedited pathways to licensure, and reduced fees.
Yeah, the benefits.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that, right?
And the grant program.
And the grant program, access to the grant program. So we are going to get, so you jumping ahead, we're going to get to the benefits of the program, but that generally is the idea of what the programming is. So going, as you applied and you got into our program, you have a great idea. It's free statewide technical assistance and training. We're prioritizing individuals and communities disproportionately harmed by cannabis prohibition. We're focusing on entrepreneurship, workforce development, whether you are managerial, C-suite, or whether you are entering or re-entering the work field, and integrated business solutions. Integrated business solutions are the businesses that would support someone opening a cannabis retailer. That is, who's hanging your TVs, who's cleaning your floors, who's picking up your trash, who's setting up your IT, Verizon, like all of these different places are what we do to sustain business. everything that you see in here that has set up this cannabis control public meeting space, an integrated business solution has done that, so we can keep in business and keep having our meetings and doing our regular work. Next slide. Again, the programming is to reduce the barrier. It's like my gentleman said here, it's not an automatic end. We still all need to do our work to be able to get into whatever lane it is that we want to get into, right? Networking. So when we're talking about reducing barriers and you are wanting to have conversations, network, mentorships, incubators, partnerships, all of that, what that looks like, we have platforms that'll be able to allow you to do so. But outside of what we're providing, how are you doing that? Are you going to conventions? Are you going to a lot of social consumption, things that are already happening and not promoting it? But like, these are where people are to understand where the cannabis industry is going, where the people are. So how are you getting into networking events or networking opportunities?
There was an event in Boston, and I did attend.
Okay.
And I try to schmooze, but just like any employment opportunity, a lot of industry professionals want you to have experience
Right.
in order for you to get in. And I feel that there's just very little chance of having people let you in, even as an intern, to learn the biz unless you've got significant experience. So that's why I was very interested in this program, because it would give me at least a feather in my cap to say,
Right.
I'm involved enough in the biz to be part of this very substantial public program
Right.
to promote industry.
Correct. Okay. That definitely makes sense. I get it. I'm sorry that you are having, look, those hurdles are in place. I understand how those conversations are hard and they just want you to be already ready, set, go, kind of already set in place. And hopefully that the program that we have will give you the tools, one, regulatorily, process-wise, when we're talking about working with municipalities, diversity impact plans, host community agreements, how to work with a municipality, how to work with law enforcement, how to sustain your business, how to get that pitch, how to get into those rooms. This is what we've built into the curriculum. We want to promote, this is a big thing for me, promoting sustainable and economic development. What does that mean? What does your business look like? Is your idea too grandiose? Do we want to all start at the top Bill Gates level? Because everyone doesn't it took time for him to start here to get to where he's at. And how do we get there? And how do you build a sustainable model to be able to create that economic thrive for you to then maybe grow to where you want to be? I think that I have a lot of conversations with people that this is what I want. I want my space to be as big as Stop and Shop. Everyone's going to come here. I'm going to have everything and not understand the financials that go into that large dream. And so making sure that on the journey, I'm helping you build sustainable business ideas, sustainable employment opportunities. Even if you're here to do an integrated business solution, how do you get into these different places? Third party delivering, how do I get that? How do I start making those networks? Are you utilizing maybe the licensing tracker to see where some of these businesses are, where you could say, this is a service I can provide, dropping off flyers, business cards, that's networking, that's that footwork that you would be doing on your own. So how do we envision all of that? And two, this was brought up, participation in the social equity program does not guarantee licensure, but we are giving you the tools and the stepping stones to see or figure out. What I really want people to do when they're in this program is figure out if this is something that they want to do or when they want to venture into. It is a real conversation that I have with people that say, I want to get into the cannabis industry. I've done this. If you have a relationship with cannabis, I have a legacy market relationship with cannabis. It is not an illicit market. It is not a legal market. It is not the black market. It is the legacy market because it is what is the trailblazer for the regulated market today. So I have a relationship with the legacy market, and it wasn't for everyone. Everyone didn't play in the legacy market, and there were a variety of reasons why that was. And everyone had a place in the legacy market, whether you were the cultivator, the product manufacturer, the packager, the deliverer, the person that stood on the corner, the person that was advertising that I had this in a corner store or whatever it was. Everyone had a place, and everyone wasn't the millionaire. So also helping people identify what their place is in the regulated cannabis industry. Next slide. As we were saying earlier, the benefits to participation in the program, which is a lot of the reason why people come here. I put at the top the free technical assistance and training program, because although it is not required for you to take to access your benefits, it is a key component. In your orientation pack, backpacks, there should be like a folder, and in the folder would be a social equity program curriculum overview. On that curriculum overview sheet, you will see how we have expanded curriculum. When we first took over the program, or when I first embarked in being responsible for the department, I had 23 courses. We have over 70 curriculum courses on different tracks, on different focuses for individuals. This is what the sheet would look like. And it goes over the curriculum that we're teaching. So that is what our free statewide programming is. Hello, good afternoon. How are you?
Getting stuff.
I'm glad to have you here. I'm good.
Thank you.
Expedited license application review. And so just for clarity on what that is, and I think that I won't take over it because I'm sure Christine will go over it in her presentation, but it's a queue system. So as soon as you submit your application, it doesn't mean that someone is looking at it right there. We have a plethora of priority applicants that come in. And so that is in a queue, and it is based on priority, but it is expedited review. We have waived licensing application fees. It excludes the background check costs. We have waived metric monthly program fees. The cost we do the seed to sale system, so it does not cover the cost for plant packaging and tax. We have 50% reduction in annual renewal fees, 3-year licensing exclusivity to social consumption, and the delivery license type, as we know, is something that is under discussion in the public meetings. So right now, delivery exclusivity is through April 1st, 2026. That is a public meeting discussion that is happening, and a vote needs to take place. Yes?
By delivery exclusivity, what exactly?
So delivery exclusivity is so under the program, we have a delivery license type. And that license type is exclusive to approved participants in the program. So if you are an certified economic empowerment applicant or a improved social equity participant, you can apply for that license type. So let's just say that I didn't work at the Cannabis Control Commission, and I wanted to do delivery, I would have to be approved in this program to submit an application for a delivery license.
But you guys are approving applications for those that are part of the SVP program, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Oh, so like clarity about the exclusivity. So the exclusivity period, we had a 3-year exclusivity period, which began on April 1st, 2022. Just make sure I get that right. And then through that period, there is an evaluation period that needs to happen. And then we present that to our acting chair and commissioners about what our recommendation is, where that exclusivity period should go. Should it stop and have just a general applicant pool, or should it still remain exclusive to the social equity program as it is? And through that process, a vote needs to take place by the commissioners about where that is going to go.
So only delivery licenses are only being granted to SVP applicants at the moment?
At the moment, yes,
Yes.
through April 1st, 2026, correct.
That's what
That's what you're here for. Love to hear it. And we did intros before, but again, love your attendance and your name.
Ismar.
SMR, nice to meet you.
Get another question here.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Hey.
Yeah, I just had a question on the 3-year access thing for the social consumption. That social consumption is still like kind of in discussion.
Yeah.
Is that 3-year access from when we got accepted into the social equity program?
No, so the way, so I'm gonna have Jessica stop me if I'm wrong, please. So the way that it works, I'm going to emulate how it worked for delivery and make sure, and then you could correct me if that's wrong. So the way that the delivery exclusivity period kicked off is when the first full delivery operator license was operational. So what we'd have to do is get through the promulgation period, get through that vote, then it would have to be promulgated, then licensing would, then it would move to staff, basically, just to break it down in layman terms. It would move to staff to do the work. Then the license to and build all the programming, what the compliance looks like, investigations and formats, all of that work that we need to do in-house. And then when, let's just say we get through all of that and we announce that you can go into Mass CIP and apply for a license. Once, again, Celia doesn't work here. So once I go in and I apply for social consumption, and I go through all of the processes, all the paperwork, whatever, all the investigate, and then I get a vote, the vote that happens in public meeting and says, you're approved for final licensure and commence ops. Once I open my doors, that is when, so when that person gets commence ops, Celia, then that is when that will kick off the waiting period. So it'll be 3 years from there.
Thank you very much.
Asterisk to all that, it's all draft regulations right now.
Yeah, that's just, I know we're still happy, it's gonna work, I just didn't wanna,
Yeah.
So we have, like, we have actually, great segue, we have conversations coming up next week, Monday. So tune into that if that is something, well, I always say tune into public meeting because there's so much work that goes into public meeting and gets discussed, but so I'm a big advocate for it. But that is where the conversations have and the votes are taking place and the process moves forward. So if you're interested into that, please stay tuned to public meetings and how those discussions go.
And there will be a public comment period as we're required to do, so definitely put your input in then. The other thing that's being discussed is it won't be just the first social equity license for social consumption. It's the first one of a specific category of them. So it's right now there's 3 categories. That's something that's still in the works. So just stay tuned to all of that for when that timeline starts.
all right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Oh, we have a question in the chat?
We have 3 questions in the chat.
Yes,
We could address them now and hopefully we get.
sure. We have plenty of
all
time.
staff present here. So first question is, can you give examples of application fee amounts that are waived and the renewal fees that are discounted?
The guidance on licensure, that's what I was gonna reference, but.
I have all the fees and everything in my section of the.
Okay.
Okay, so we will address that in the license.
Perfect.
I was gonna give like a long drawn out explanation. It is better for this, my subject matter expert to address that. So we do have that built into the presentation, so I would just hold that until we get to licensing.
Yep. And the other 3 questions is related to licensing fees as well. So we'll address that when we get to the licensing portion of the
We
presentation.
have a robust.
Thank you for submitting.
Robust Q&A for you.
Right, I'm ready.
All right.
Yes, so thank you for those questions and apologies that I can't see it right off the bat. And so that our staff here will, all right,
There's one other question not related to fees.
okay.
Do you have a rough idea when social consumption establishments would be able to open their doors?
So I do not. We do have to get through the regulation period, the vote, the promulgation, and the work that it goes into it. I think I can't have an idea, because we have to get through the work. I do want to educate people to look at the landscape. Like, it takes a lot of work to get this stuff off the ground, right? And so I don't have a realistic time frame because we have to get through the regulatory piece, and then we have to get through the, how do we implement this realistically and sustainably so people can actually apply for the license and make it work. So unfortunately, I don't have an answer for that question. But I look forward to it. Is there anything else?
No,
Okay,
good.
perfect. And then application pre-certification. And application pre-certification right now, you can go into Mass CIP and apply for pre-certification, which is like a pre-cert or a shorter version to get the process started for license type. We did get a vote for it to be for all license types, but currently you can go into Mass CIP and do pre-certification for delivery. Next slide. My favorite part, we're gonna get into technical assistance and training. Right, and so what I'd like to see is, I think everyone that has participated was given a orientation packet. The 2025 Social Equity Program orientation packet, it goes over a lot of the stuff that in depth that I'm gonna go over, so you could just keep it as a reference manual. Attendance to our courses is highly recommended. but not mandatory. Again, for if you're seeking any of the benefits that are applicable to the programming, you get those immediately upon approval. So whenever you were approved, your application was approved to into the program, you had immediate access to the benefits that were available to you that we just outlined. Completing course evaluations for program improvement. As we do our live courses, we do ask for your feedback. So as you go through our live courses that will be starting in September, we ask for your feedback. Again, that is optional and it is only with our team. So it is not your feedback, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, isn't shared outside of this agency. It is just for process improvement. Communication through Talent LMS is our directed portal. So we have portals. Our Talent LMS is our learning management system. When you were approved to the social equity program, you were provided an additional email that came after that. If you don't have it, we can help you with it. That gave you access to register and log on to Talent LMS. The curriculum that we delivered last year is available on it. All the courses are, all the live courses that we previously taught are recorded, and all the assignments and curriculum and resources that were built into that curriculum is available on the website now. Web portal. We will be kicking off live instructor courses in September. And so again, if you aren't able to attend based on the schedule that we provide, those will then be recorded and available on Talent LMS. Talent LMS is 24/7, 365 at your own pace. No personal audio and video recordings without authorization. It's a safe space. I want people to come to class, our webinars or instructor-led courses, however you feel comfortable. There are lectures, basically. It's a two-way conversation. It's an expert in the industry. It's a consultant in the industry. It's also someone who's also teaching, mentoring, or providing network opportunities for people in the industry. And so we're going to teach you about whatever that track is, because we have a lot of them, right? And then there's opportunities for you to engage with that professional about what does this mean? How does this work? Why is it this way? And so it's a safe environment for everyone. I want to make sure that we keep it that way. And if you need any accommodations, if you need anything at all for anyone who is connected with me, I pride myself on always being available. So you can reach out to my staff. We have a general email that will be in basically all the materials that you receive. And my email address is also on this slide. Next slide. These are the different tracks that we cover. So this is what the social program and the curriculum that you will see is that we make available to you is built over. We have the entrepreneur track. A lot of people focus there, but I think that I also like to make sure that everyone understands that no matter what your vision is or where you want to go, or even if you don't know where you want to go, that we can try to help you decipher that. We can't make the decision for you, I will tell you that. But what I can do is help you decipher what that path is and figure out where it fits here. Our entrepreneur track is people who are seeking licensure and ownership. That's product manufacturing, delivery, retail, cultivation. And as you know, we are missing a bullet here, which is social consumption. We have our core. These are individuals that are in the program looking for career advancement. I think that in the cannabis industry, we forget that we need accountants, we need lawyers, we need HR professionals, we need diversity, equity officers. We have C-suite professionals that these opportunities are available in the cannabis industry. They also support your business and help your business thrive and grow. So that is where that is. There's a bunch of transferable skills, and I think that people miss that. So we're here to help people with that as well. Entry, re-entry. People looking to just work in the industry and figure out where they want. I could work in the industry and figure out that being an owner is something that I want. Or I could get into a dispensary and be like, I like managing people, the overhead, the expenses, stress, the payroll. This isn't for me, but working here is. Also focusing on our returning citizens. Now, it's a touchy topic for me for a lot of different reasons, but because I want to make sure that people returning into our society have paid their debt to society, especially when it's related to marijuana convictions, that you find a way, if this is a lane that you want to get back into, you've been gone and now you're back and now this is legal. And how do I find that pathway? And then we have ancillary. Also, this needs to be updated. It is our integrated business solution track. And those are supporting everyone who supports our business. And how do you do that networking to be the third party transporter, to be those different things that help retailers? Next slide. For those who, this is the the people that were invited to this programming, yes,
I had a question about the tracks there.
sure,
Do you have to pick one
you don't.
to do multiple?
You can do multiple tracks.
Do them all if you want.
You can do them, yeah, you can do them all if you'd like. We have the updated program design, so individuals are invited to this orientation were accepted into the application period that just closed. But everyone who is in the program is invited to curriculum. So this is probably more relevant for people who have already taken the curriculum, or if you've gone there and you've just moved around. We have a new track design. So we have built in, and this is just from feedback and then assisting people within the programming, that we have foundational and growth. If everyone could take a look at their curriculum overview sheets. Before you move to track specific work, and this is the way that it's going to be taught when we do it in September, is that we need to move through the foundation of our curriculum, then move to the growth section, and then we get into core tracks. The reason why it's built that way is because if we look at the curriculum, the essential learning pathway, which is first, is going to be the track that you have to go through before you get to I want to be an owner. We're introducing you into the regulated cannabis industry, the cannabis plan, business plan creation and development, building equity. That's crafting diversity plans. We hear that feedback in our public meetings all the time, so we're doing a course on that. Navigating the municipal process. I have a lot of people that come to me and they say, I want to go into business. Where do you want to do business? And we're stuck there. So navigating the municipal process, host community agreements, the fundamental that you need before you say, I'm opening a business. And the same thing with our growth path. Once we get through these courses, then your core focus, whether that's entrepreneur, core reentry, or integrated business solutions, those will open up for you on Talent LMS. Next slide. These are our different pathways. They are kind of like named different. Leadership and executive development pathway. That again is making sure that we focus on people who want to be in the industry and are bringing executive C-suite level opportunities, and how do we expand that network? How do we also, I think that I keep honing on this point, but how do we create sustainable businesses? How do we get Celia's Cannabis, right? I've opened up, I'm a small business. For me to be able to open the doors to have C-suite executives, especially in Massachusetts, let's make sure that we understand where we are at. That takes capital. You're not going to have your executive HR professional accountant come in and not be able to make C-suite income. But to be able to do that, you need to be able to expand your business. How do we do that? How do we understand that? Because you're going to retain that talent if you can have a sustainable business. That's the way that things work. And so I understand that. That's also educating that level employee about how to be patient with that business owner. And we have integrated business solutions. I think that you'll hear me say it even when we go through courses, because if you don't have that structure, if you don't have those businesses to help you thrive, it's almost like bridging the gap to certain things that you need. You set up your retailer, you set up you need to be a third party transporter, you need transport. How do you build a sustainable relationship where it's not they're charging you an arm and a leg to have a fleet of 3 vehicles? How do you sustain those leases? What does that look like? Realizing the capital it takes to be able to get to where you want. And then realistically, 1 to 2 years it takes for a business to even start saying, I'm bringing in that capital where I'm making profit. But how do I sustain in an ever evolving and changing industry? Third party transport is going to be really different when we have a social consumption. Like the landscape is ever evolving. So always thinking about how your business is going to evolve is important. And what are the tools and businesses you need to do to get there? Next slide. And this gets into how we are teaching our curriculum and who's teaching it. So I'm long-winded, so clearly you don't want me probably teaching your courses. So we have our awarded vendors in a public meeting. We announced to these individuals and businesses they will be teaching our courses in September. We have Tyrone Gomes from Greenlight Business Solutions. Welcome back. We have Lori and Lucien, industry professional, everyone like well-known name. And she represents Cami Flower. We have Sean Coleman, a practicing lawyer. And Lori Glouser, please, I apologize if I said that incorrectly, from Signal Hill Group, with all types of different diverse learning styles, communication styles, and different perspectives of the industry. So you will see all of these professionals built in throughout all of the curriculum. We have a virtual learning environment. It's just easier and more accessible. I am looking for ways to be able to get more in person. I know that everyone has different learning styles. It is cost effective and it is easy for everyone to access. What I can say about our virtual learning environment is that we have built a curriculum schedule that does afternoon and evening courses. So you can attend them in the afternoon, you can attend them in the evening, and if you can't attend at all, it will be online. And then we do, again, have our evaluations for our modules to let us, at the end of each course, you can give us our feedback. What would you have changed? What would you have wanted to learn? What was missing? And then we are also trying to build in a certification. So as what that looks like for maybe delivery or what that looks like for social consumption, those are things that we are consistently working on. But this programming and the courses that you can always present it and say that I've completed it. And through other programming that you will hear here, it is being prioritized. As we are becoming owners within this industry, we have to understand that being a cannabis owner, working in the cannabis industry, or whatever you partake in this regulated business is a privilege. And it's about, I want you to be successful, but it's also about reaching back and bringing up. If I did it, how do I do it? How do I get those networking opportunities? This is basically what you're saying. If you're not coming to the table with information, then it's like people don't want to talk to you. But how am I supposed to get where I want to go if you don't want to help me get there? And so breaking down those barriers and getting into those rooms, these are the conversations that I'm having. Because this is what our promise is when we get into the cannabis industry. This is what diversity and positive impact plans are. How are we positively impacting businesses and peoples and communities that should also be in this industry? And how are you being intentional about that? And that is how we break down your barrier. Next slide. Talent LMS access. And we had said this in the beginning, if you do not have access to Talent LMS, please reach out either online, let us know, or through email, and we will get you a login. It is something that was issued again. Is it August? It's July of 2025. So you may not have had it or can't find it in your email, but we can resend it out to you if you need access to it. So please connect with us to do so. Are we switching?
Yes.
And for assistance, equity@cccmass.com.
Yep. Next time, I'm gonna share my. I'll share comments.
Okay, so we're switching.
All right, thanks all.
That was
All right,
like
switching
the
over.
weirdest, that was like the weirdest like transition.
It is, apologies.
But apologies, but I'm done with the first portion of this. You will hear from me. I'm not going anywhere. So if you need to connect with me either online in chat, we're here till 5. Thank you for giving me your 2 to 5. But I think this is really, really important. And I'm really dedicated to seeing the industry become what it is. I think before I pass it off, I want everyone to understand that a regulated cannabis industry is a big deal. And it's a big, big thing to make sure, like getting it right, I feel like it's a hard bar to meet because it's always going to have to change. And I think because I have a relationship with a legacy market that always evolved, that is where the understanding is. And we here at the Cannabis Control Commission are doing our best within a regulatory legislative framework to bring the best, safest product and availability and opportunity to the cannabis industry in Massachusetts. And with that, thank you.
Thank you, Frank. All right, everyone.
Those of you who don't know me, I know I introduced myself, Steve Carasolo, Manager of Community Outreach with the Cannabis Control Commission. I am just going to do a quick walkthrough of Talent LMS. Like Celia mentioned, Talent LMS is our learning management system. Everyone who was accepted into the program already should have received login credentials from me or the equity email box with your username and password. If you need that, again, feel free to let us know afterwards, shoot us an email, and we can get you that information. I'm going to go ahead and switch over from the PowerPoint presentation over to Talent LMS just so I can do a quick walkthrough, show you guys what that looks like. So if you haven't done that already. Okay, second. All right, everybody. So this is the new interface. There's two different interfaces you're gonna see when you log into Talent LMS. So everybody again should have the link. I sent in an email, but we can send the link if you don't have it. The URL right here, it's https://socialequityprogram.talentlms.com. That'll bring you into the login page and you can log in with your credentials sent to your email. Two different pages when you log in. I'm going to the legacy interface right here. It's just a little easier to use and walk through as we are going through this. When you log into Talent LMS with your approved SEP credentials, this is the homepage you're going to come in here and see. All of the courses that you've been assigned right here are going to show up in the middle. So I have a number of 59 courses, my learning profile. There are some advanced courses which we launched last year that are really for people in the provisional phase of licensure and beyond. Kind of covers the more in-depth stuff that we cover lightly within the rest of our programming. But again, we just dive deeper into that material resources. We have the ancillary track, which is the integrated business solution track, which Celia had mentioned previously, the core tracks, and the entrepreneur tracks here down at the bottom. Each of these tracks have, I don't know, 5 or 6 courses each, and they are highly encouraged to complete before you start licensure. That way you guys can get an idea of what you need to do before you get started. If we start here at the bottom, I'll just jump into one. We were to start with the first course here. But budgeting, money management, and projections for cannabis businesses. It's one of the advanced courses. The first page would be the live instruction video, but for this example, it is the PowerPoint presentation. Usually there will be a video here. If you need to navigate through, there's these arrows here on the right-hand side that you can go through. There's also a button at the bottom, a complete continue, which will bring you onto the next page. And then you can use these arrows up here or a drop down. Each course is going to have a presentation covering all the information you're going to need to get started for that course, some additional materials, and then the feedback form. All the feedbacks that we receive from participants help us refine our course material as we move forward. This is kind of what a course looks like. If you need to navigate away, you can go here, hit back button, go back to course info, it'll bring you to the course. You can go back to courses, and it'll bring you back to this main page here. You had a great question. If you were limited to which tracks you can take, I had mentioned for anyone who wasn't listening, you can have all of them. So for example, I'm a CCC employee, but this is my test account. I enrolled myself in nearly every single track here. So this is what, if somebody does the same, you are going to have a similar layout right here. There's also an option here for course catalog. So you can always reach out to the CCC for assistance in adding a course. But what you could actually do, if you don't see one here that you want to take, and you know there's another one, say you're not added to the core track, and you know you want to take a core track course, well, you're going to see them all right here via the course catalog. You would scroll down. I already have this course, but you would click, there would be a register button right here. You would click that button, and you would have access to the course. If there's any issues, again, you can reach out to equity@cccmass.com, and we can help you walk through that. If we were to go back again to the homepage, you can also track your progress. So here is my information, the courses I've completed, my activity, learn badges, and actually, this is kind of cool. Gamification shows like how you can collect points, badges. It shows where you rank actually in all of the participants that have completed this course so far. So if you guys are into that, there's an option there at the bottom. Course is complete, like I mentioned, the time it's completed, the number of courses it's taken you to complete, all that good stuff is there. Infographic. There's some more information here on this page, some of the similar stuff here. But really good if you want to see what courses you've completed so far. And then I think last but not least, discussion page. There is discussion options, which you mentioned networking. Talent LMS is a great way to network with your fellow SCP participants. So you guys can go in here and start a discussion, or if you can go into a discussion that's already been started. As a learner, I obviously don't have access, and there's nothing in here right now. But we, as an administrator, I can start a discussion, and everybody can chime in that way. Any questions so far about Talent LMS? Pretty straightforward, pretty user friendly. There is calendar. So Celia mentioned the calendar for live instruction that's going to start in September. It is not in here yet. Just make sure. Nope. So if you were to go to calendar view, all of the live instructions are going to show up here for the days that they're scheduled for. So if you guys need to look on, there's a class on the 26th, you'll be able to see throughout all of our live instruction period with when the classes are, which they are, and so on. You can export it. Go to my events and available events. Available events will show you everything that, even if you're not registered for it, if you click available events up here, it'll let you access all of the courses available. Let me just double check to see if there's anything else. I don't think there is anything else for Talent LMS. There are tutorials in here if you need them. I'll make sure everybody has access to them. So if you have trouble navigating Talent LMS, there's a tutorial guide, and we also have information available on our website. And we're always available via equity@cccmass.com for any questions you guys may have. Just to cover a couple of other things, I know I covered the progress tracker, the badges. You can self-enroll for additional courses, like I mentioned, but if you have trouble with that, feel free to reach out to the CCC and we can help you with that. Again, this is all self-paced, so take it at your leisure. If you don't have time, we all know life can get busy. So it's meant to be self-paced, so you guys can go through this. Obviously, it's all virtual, so you'll need a reliable internet connection, computer, laptop, or smartphone, a valid email address, so we can give you an email, get all those emails over for Talent LMS. And understanding of the regulations, 935 CMR 500. Those are available on our website, and we can make sure everybody has those if they need to. And that is it for me. So thank you all. Transition.
I have a question.
There's a question.
So are we getting graded for our assignments?
Yes. So during live instruction period, commission staff does not grade the assignments, but our vendors who we contract with do. So during the live instruction period, which will start in the fall, assignments will be graded. And then if you fail or don't complete them, you can always retake them again. No, there's no penalization.
I have another question.
Yeah.
So the finishing all of these courses provide any sort of certification and a potential employer might be able to see?
So, couple things. It's something we're working on now as a certification. But I think when you're going through all this information, using the knowledge that you gain through these courses to plug it into your resume. So if you say, when you're applying to a dispensary, you're an approved SCP participant and you took, the 70 some odd courses, so you know how to do cultivation really well. All of these things, if you outline that way in your resume, you'll catch the attention of an employer, probably a little bit more. But we're working on a certification right now. But just because you complete the courses, it doesn't mean you'll always be at 100%. Celia mentioned as the industry evolves, regulations evolve, so do our courses. So cohort one participants didn't have access to delivery courses or predatory lending coursework. And again, social consumption, even though we don't have it out yet, all the previous cohorts of participants didn't have access to social consumption courses. So again, everything continues to evolve. So even with that in mind, your course progress might not be 100%. You might have completed a course and then it changed and it might go down to 0.
Gotcha.
It might be 0%, and you might feel like, okay, I need to take it again to get it back to 100. If there's not new information, no, but I mean, it's always there if you need it.
All right.
Gotcha.
And then you could take this away, right? You could, to your point, can I put this on a resume? Should an employer be taking that into consideration? They should, right? Because it's education, it's although I'm not having a Harvard University ceremony, I take continuing education courses just for my place of employment. How am I a better leader? I have taken communication courses and leadership courses at Simmons College. I am an alumni of Northeastern University. Like whatever I can do, because I was an electrician and 5 years ago, they still have a certification period and continuing education as regulations and code changes. It's the same thing. So I would say this is something that would catch my attention if I was an employer. And as we move into conversations about Equity CareerWorks Career Hub platform, it is something that I'm also saying to employers. You're looking for those individuals that have 100 years of experience or this, that, and the third, or I am the botanist from California that has been doing this and I have the craziest strand ever because I've been working on it for 20 years. But there are other people that have experience that don't have to fall in that lane that you may be overlooking. I mean, I've worked with amazing professionals who didn't even go to college. We don't even need to get in there because I don't want to discredit everything that everyone has done attaining knowledge, but knowledge comes in different forms and it does come in an experience and lived experience. And those are things that we are articulating that employers should also be prioritizing. Hey.
Yeah.
I was actually sort of gonna add to your answer. I would say OSHA 10,
Yes.
because we are a legitimate industry and these
Talk about it.
certifications are good. Metric has plenty of courses on YouTube.
Oh.
You might be able, without Metric access, to sign up for their certification program. I don't know whether you can or not, but it's a requirement for certain operators at least. So, I mean, at least you can familiarize yourself pretty well with Metric.
Yeah.
Which is big on a resume, I'd say.
I do.
You had a question? sir?
Yeah, this is all amazing and terrific, and was one of the reasons why I was very interested in this. But has the commission done any outreach to the industry about this program, what it is, and people involved in it? And because it should really have a lot more impact, I think, than it does. And I know I've spoken to industry, businesses in the industry and mentioned that I'm a social SEP, and they're like, what is that? I mean, so, yeah, this is terrific and amazing. And anybody that goes through this curriculum is certainly knowledgeable and well-versed enough to be employable. However, if the cannabis industry isn't aware of this, then it has, real impact on the employability of us.
I have probably the most unpopular answer to that question is that if you're in the regulated cannabis industry in the Massachusetts, right? And I'm gonna speak for Massachusetts because a lot of jurisdictions are doing this and doing this priority period. And this isn't something that someone is saying that they know about or are aware of. I am unsure how you're in the Massachusetts cannabis industry. It is built into our mission. It is built into the licensing process. It is built into every processes and things that regulatory processes that we think about, even when we talk about them in public meeting. So if someone is in the industry and saying that they don't know of this, that's intentional. And I can't break someone's intentionality to not be equitable. All I can continue to do is knock on the door to say you're supposed to be equitable. All my commissioners can continue to do is stand in public meeting and say, this diversity impact plan, this positive impact plan is not equitable. Equity is built into every fiber of the things that we do. Whether someone is saying they feel like it is working in Massachusetts, if it is struggling in Massachusetts, in general, in the United States of America, there is a business, there is an individual, personally, professionally, that is struggling. We have to be intentional if we wanted to move it forward, and we need to move it forward together. There is a reason why if someone says that they want to get a pack of Pampers, there's 2 places that they usually typically go, maybe 3: Target, Amazon, Walmart. There's a reason for that inequity in the way that we shop. That is an environment that we have supported and created. It used to be an industry thriving of different business and opportunities. I don't go to a mall for anything. That's the intentionality of the consumer. We have created that environment. And so the Cannabis Control Commission is intentional in making sure that equity is a driving factor and built into our mission, in fact. And so I would just say that we're going to continue to knock on those doors and make sure that people are aware. But we reach out to municipalities, we reach out to business owners. We have a robust website, resources, and tools. And we can only do so much. I can't change someone's intention.
There is a question in the chat. I know it's addressed, but if we can give a little bit more background, particularly to the evolution of the curriculum. But the question is about the certification of completion for the social equity program curriculum.
So again, the curriculum, I mean, I guess to take it off from the beginning, the curriculum isn't required. To receive a certification, typically, like I didn't go to Northeastern University with the intent of, if I get this many credits, it's optional, and then they give me a degree. It was required tracks, prerequisites, all of those different things. And so when we're talking about the evolution of the curriculum, how do I set the bar for something that's self-paced and everyone has a different pathway? That is going to, first and foremost, that's going to take more than 4 people. And that is currently what my staff is. And so providing the tools that are self-paced and all of the things that you need to get to where you're going, that is still education. I took certification programs that weren't required of me, but were able to put them on my resume. So I am looking to partner with universities that can create like continuing business programs that would have some type of accreditation, like if we did Phoenix, Arizona or something like that. That's a weird example, but that's the avenue that I'm looking for. And so then there would be like a bona fide certificate gone through it. I mean, you go through RVT training, right? Right. We go through RVT training. That is something that should also be recognized. There isn't specifically like an accreditation or something that goes behind that other than a, certification of completion. And so the idea is to evolutionize it to it's a certified program. We all know that that's going to take more staff, resources, probably outsourcing, which then equates to budget. And I'll leave that there. So the idea is that we do evolutionize.
Yeah, and I would say the only thing that I would add is, right, we want to make sure that we're removing as many barriers as possible, right? We are up to 73 or 4 courses in our curricula that take a significant amount of time, right? We prevented folks from having the social equity benefits until they completed their certification. That's a significant amount of time. So we highly recommend that you complete all the courses that you need and you participate in everything that's presented, but none of that is preventing any benefits with your immediate acceptance into the program. And I just want to thank the folks who are adding comments into the chat as well that recommended some different programs that do have certifications through education programs. You can read them up on the chat, or during our networking session, we could share a little bit more information about that.
Awesome, thank you. And I know that community colleges also are offering things like Roxbury Community. I'm not like, so please don't take this as like, I have to be very careful because it's like, are you endorsing it? I'm not. These are just resources that are available. So I know that RCC, Roxbury Community College, has, a cannabis curriculum. I believe, and I do not want to misspeak, but Clark University also had some. Northeastern University, a lot of community colleges are doing some type of fundamental or cultivation vibe type of curriculum. Obviously there's a fee associated with that. So I'm not saying let's go out and everyone maybe create more debt than you don't want, but there are different avenues outside of this as well.
Ours is completely free.
Ours is completely free.
First of its kind in the nation.
Alright, so if there aren't any other questions about curricula and Talent LMS, we're gonna take a quick break and then we're gonna jump into our licensing portion of the presentation. Any questions? No? Awesome. Thank you. We'll take a quick break, about 5 minutes, and we'll return here and start with our licensing presentation. Thank you.
Those in the front, make sure your mic's.
Thank you. We're back, we're back, we're back. I'm gonna do a sound check and just make sure this is the part of, you know what I mean? We want. So I want to make sure everyone can hear. Everyone can hear online. If I could get a yes or a heart or a thumbs up. Yep, we can hear. All right. So we are getting into the next portion of our thank you for your patience while we, had a quick break to refresh, stretch our legs. I am here to invite Christine, our licensing manager, to go over the licensing presentation that we have for you guys today. So I'm going to kick it off to her. But before we move in, I just wanted to make sure, as a common courtesy, she is here to give a presentation over the licensing process. We cannot discuss any specific licensing situations, licensing, specific timeframes, your application, hypotheticals. This is just the clean cut process. So I appreciate everyone for just adhering to that engagement memo, no disclaimer. And Christine, it's all you.
Okay, that's good. So just to start off, if you want to go to the next slide, our agenda, we're going to go over the different license types. It sounds like these should be rather familiar to some people, but we'll go through everything just so everybody's up to speed. Then we'll go through the licensing process from when you file your application all the way through commence operations. And then at the end, we will show some tips, places to look, our guidance documents, different things that'll help you through the process. So next slide. Okay, so these are our big three licenses: cultivator, product manufacturer, and retailer. So starting off, our cultivator, an establishment that can cultivate, process, possess, and transport marijuana to other establishments, but cannot sell directly to consumers. So for all of our licenses, except for delivery operator and courier, they're a little different. You can have up to 3 of the same license. So you can have up to 3 cultivator licenses. The max canopy size, so the amount of square feet your plants take up, between those 3 licenses cannot be more than 100,000 square feet. And so this license class is useful if you want to grow marijuana and sell in bulk to product manufacturers. Product manufacturers are the ones that obtain, manufacture, process, package, and transport marijuana and marijuana products to other establishments, but cannot sell to consumers. So again, you can have up to 3 product manufacturing licenses, and these would be used to produce edibles, vape carts, different marijuana products other than straight flower, something you could do. And then retailer is the establishment that can possess and transport marijuana and to other establishments and can sell to consumers over the age of 21. Retailers cannot deliver products to consumers or allow on-site consumption unless an additional license is obtained. So if you get your delivery operator, courier, your different transportation licenses. So this is if you want to purchase marijuana and sell to consumers. Next slide. Another kind of interesting option is a micro business. So this is kind of a hybrid license. It's both a tier 1 cultivator and or a product manufacturer. It's just you're kind of sequestered to a smaller allotment. So you can have up to 2,000 pounds of marijuana throughout the course of the year. And you get certain statuses that are in line with the economic empowerment or social equity participants. So just like yourselves. So you can either do both, where you can cultivate tier 1 up to 5,000 square feet and manufacture your own products, or you can choose to do one or the other. The only kind of downside to this type of license is that you would not be able to expand your cultivation operation if you wanted to do that. So you were locked into a tier 1. Another type of cultivator is called a craft marijuana cooperative. So they can perform the same activities as a marijuana cultivator and marijuana product manufacturer, and they can operate out of several locations with some restrictions. And so the limit of all of those locations together can't be more than 100,000 square feet. So this is useful if you want to cultivate and produce marijuana and marijuana products and sell those products to other establishments. It's available to applicants that want an association of people united voluntarily to meet their common economic, social, and cultural needs and aspirations through jointly owned and democratically controlled enterprise. So a co-op, a cooperative.
Yes, Jeff. Christine, what if I start as one of these smaller operators and then my cultivation business goes crazy and I get more?
So you are permitted to move up a tier level. So if you start at a tier 1, because you want to start small, and then very quickly you realize that you want to expand your operation to a tier 2, 3, it goes up to 11. You can file a tier increase. That's an application you would submit to licensing, and we work with investigations to get you there. You have to prove that you sold at least 70%. That's what the number's escaping me. 70% of your inventory within a year. So if you're sold more than that, you're eligible to increase your tier. And conversely, if you sold less than, you could relegate your tier. If you were at like a tier 5, you could relegate down to a tier 3, 4, whatever better fits what you're able to grow. Next slide. Now we get into our transporter licenses. The third-party transporter is an establishment that can transport marijuana and marijuana products between establishments and MTC centers, or MTCs. And a licensee cannot have any interest in any other type of license. So for example, if you were a third-party transporter, you could not also have product manufacturer or a retail license. You could only hold a third-party transporter. An existing licensee transporter is an establishment that can transport marijuana and marijuana products between other establishments. And the licensee must have a license in another type. So if you have a retail license, you're eligible to become an existing licensee transporter, but you can't do it reverse. You can't transport and then get your retail license. So this class would be useful if you want to contract with other establishments to transport their marijuana and marijuana products and at the same time still cultivate, produce, and sell your own at your own establishment. Now these, no, you're fine. So the marijuana courier and marijuana delivery operator are our two delivery types that have the exclusivity period. So a marijuana courier is an establishment that can deliver marijuana and marijuana retailers, from marijuana retailers and MTCs to consumers over the age of 21 and patients and caregivers with proper identification at their residences. This licensee does not sell marijuana, so you're not selling your own products. You're picking them up from another establishment and delivering them to the consumer. Whereas a delivery operator can wholesale products. So you would obtain marijuana products and wholesale them, white label them as your own product, and then sell those to consumers, and you can deliver that way. So these are a little bit different in the fact that you cannot hold more than 2 delivery licenses. So you could have a courier and a delivery operator, or 2 couriers, 2 delivery operators, but you cannot have more than that. Next slide. So this is just a brief overview of the licensing process. We'll get in depth a lot more. So first step is submitting your application. Once we have deemed your application complete, you would obtain your provisional license and pay your annual license fee, get your post-provisional license inspection, and then move on to your final license, your post-final license inspection. And then once everything is set up and you're ready to go, you can commence operations. So we'll get into the nitty-gritty of that. So to get started, our platform is called Mass CIP, Mass Cannabis Industry Portal. So first step is to create a login. So you create your username, your password, set it up with your email. And in order to kind of get your application started, you must first register with the Secretary of the Commonwealth's office. And you should review our regulations and our guidance documents prior to beginning your application, just to give you an idea of the documents and everything that we're going to ask you for. Every marijuana establishment has establishment application has 4 sections that need to be completed. The application of intent, which is just giving us information about yourself and the property that you're going to be located at. the background check, which everybody has to go through, the management and operations profile, which is going to be your standard operating procedures and different plans. And then obviously your application fee is included in that as well. Next slide. Okay, this is everybody's favorite chart. I apologize, it's a little small, but we wanted to fit the whole thing in here. But these are the application fees. We will talk about the annual license fee later. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, so we're going to stick within that red circle. Oh. So for most license types are going to have a standard number. You can see the cultivation licenses depends on how big of a tier you're going to go for. If you're a tier 1, it's $200 for an indoor, or if you're going to be a little more adventurous and try an outdoor cultivator, it's $100. You get a 50% discount for operating outdoors because your growing season is obviously shorter than if you were indoors. And then as social equity participants, you get 50% off of the license fees. So for example, application fee. Example, if you're applying for a marijuana retailer, that's standard $10,000 or $1,500. Where do you go? $1,500, yes, sorry, I don't want to misspeak. So you would pay half of that, $750. Or sorry, they're waived completely. I'm sorry. It's the license fees that are 50%. Your application fee is waived, so you would not have to pay. I apologize. I'm trying not to misspeak. I'm getting ahead of myself. Yeah. Okay, so once you submit your application, you're placed into our licensing queue. Applications submitted by priority applicants, which are going to be MTCs and economic empowerment priority applicants, show up first in the queue. Then next would be the expedited applications, which are SEP participants, minority women veteran-owned businesses, outdoor cultivation, independent testing labs, micro businesses, and craft co-ops. So those are kind of the special license types, along with the social equity participants and minority women veteran-owned, also known as DBE. You get expedited. So you're not as high as the priority, but you're that second layer. So when things come into our queue, they're automatically placed in order. And then after priority and expedited, you're just general applicants. So you would be put later into the queue. I always tell people when they watch the number to see where they are in the queue. It is a good indication of where you're at, but it's not the end all be all, because maybe an application is being worked on, but then Stephen comes in and he does the next one, and so on and so forth. So we have several licensing specialists that are all working on applications at the same time. So just because you're 4th, 10th, 15th in the queue doesn't mean we're not looking at your application. And then, so once your application is fully reviewed and we deem it complete, we will notify you with an app complete notice, and that gives you your next steps. Next slide. Okay, so your next step notice is going to give you all of this information about how to complete your background check. So every person with direct or indirect control listed on your license is going to have to be, or on your application is going to have to be fingerprinted and background checked. And if you, we will also send a host community notice that will notify the host community that we have received your application, we've deemed it complete, and they have 60 days to tell us whether or not you're in compliance with their ordinances and or bylaws. So if you need a special permit, you need something from the town in order to get that all set, we'll find out about it. So if for some reason you're not in compliance, the town will come back and say, nope, sorry, we're not ready for them to open. Then it'll get sent back to us. We'll deem your application incomplete, and then we'll kind of start, you don't start over by any means, but we'll take a step back and then we'll try again once you are in compliance with the town. And then once we get the background checks back, we will review for suitability issues. If there are any issues, we will do an internal review. We might be in communication, but if no suitability comes up, then we'll move right into the next step where you will be recommended for approval at a public meeting. So the agenda is posted 2 days before, and that's the best way for us to confirm that you're on the agenda. We can recommend you, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the commission themselves, the commissioners, decide that you're going to be on that agenda. So it does, we don't like to promise anything, obviously. So checking the agenda is the best way to do it. So now you've been approved for your provisional license. Congratulations. It's your first big step towards getting your license. So first thing you need to do is pay your license fee. So we're going to go over the license fees on the next page. You also need to submit an architectural review plan with investigations. So they'll come and they'll check out your location, make sure that you're progressing the way you need to. And then you would start submitting any agent registration applications for people who are going to work with you. So typically at the provisional license stage, it's going to be you as the owner and maybe a couple other people who are helping you get the business started, because you might not have like 15 employees yet. It's going to take a little bit to get there. So you would just start with your PDICs, people with direct or indirect control. And then an inspection form will be included in that notice that you receive. And you should submit it once certain items have been completed and the licensee is fully compliant with the commission's regulations and you're ready for inspection. If you're not ready for inspection, it's just going to prolong the process that much more. Okay, so this is where I promise I'll get this right this time. So annual license fees, as social equity participants, you pay 50% of the license fee. So for a marijuana product manufacturer, that's $10,000 per year you pay on with your renewal. As a social equity participant, you'll pay $5,000. And then so on and so forth for the other license types. The micro business is a little funky where you already pay 50% of the license fees. So sometimes if you're confused about how much you pay, the nice thing is Mass CIP, as long as you fill things out correctly, will tell you how much you have to pay. So if you check the boxes that say you're social equity, you're applying for this license, it'll tell you your fee. So that's a nice little check there. Next slide.
Hey, really quickly.
Sure.
I jump in. Just wanted to add, because it was brought up for disadvantaged business enterprises for your certification for a disadvantaged. If you're applying for your business to be a disadvantaged business enterprise, you do that through the Supplier Diversity Office, not here at the commission. So if you're looking to qualify for that disadvantaged business enterprise through the Supplier Diversity Office is where you would get that certification.
Yep, thank you. And to expand on that a little bit more, you don't have to have your certificate at the time you apply. We will accept you get an email essentially when you sign up for the webinar. Along with that email, we would want an affidavit saying that you qualify for this program, and there's a couple other things on there that you have to initial and check off, but that just proves to us that you're in the process of getting that certification, and it'll get you started. The next time you file your renewal, we'll follow up and say, okay, you had this last year, where's your certificate this year? Okay. So now you've paid your license fee, you're going to start building out your facility and completing other tasks. You need an inspection. So your inspection will be scheduled, and this will be an announced inspection. Investigations is known for doing unannounced inspections, so just always be aware that they could just show up one day. And on the day of your inspection, investigators will arrive and ensure compliance in the following: security features like cameras, door locks, limited access designations, so like no entry past this point signs, perimeter alarms, visitor procedures, agent identification and badging, storage requirements, transportation and inventory procedures, and adherence to advertising and marketing requirements. Okay, so now you've passed your inspection, you've getting closer with your build out, things are moving along. Now you're up for final license. So that happens again at a public meeting. Once you have had your inspection and we get the okay from investigations, we will recommend you for your final license at public meeting. Once you get your final license, you may now possess marijuana and perform other operations as it pertains to the appropriate license type. The establishment cannot sell or transfer its marijuana to other establishments or to consumers until you receive permission from the commission. All of your employees must be registered as agents. All marijuana and marijuana products as applicable must be tracked in the commission's seed to sale tracking system, Metric. Talked about that a little bit. And your product must be appropriately packaged and labeled. Your inspection form is included in your post final license inspection, PFLI, is included in your final license notification when you get that from the commission the day it's approved. And that will have the instructions on how to file that or request that inspection. Next slide. Okay, and so again, they're going to come out and they're going to look for these particular things. They're going to make sure that your marijuana is appropriately tagged and tracked in Metric. All product has been independently tested and passed certain testing protocols. All employees are registered as agents and background check reports will be reviewed. So every time you hire an agent, we do ask that you run a query check. You don't have to submit that query check to us, but we ask that you have it on record and the investigators will ask to see them. And then to make sure that all of your product is properly labeled and packaged. Okay, so once you've got your final license and you've passed your final inspection, now you can start to commence operations. So how do you do that? You can start selling to marijuana and other transferring marijuana to other establishments. If you're a retailer, you can open your doors only to the individuals over the age of 21 and start selling marijuana and marijuana products to the public. You can ensure that your establishment remains fully compliant with applicable laws and regulations, and you can be inspected at any time without notice, an unannounced inspection. You must report any breach of security to the commission and local law enforcement. And once you have received your provisional license, so this is backtracking a little bit, if you want to make any changes to your ownership structure, the name of your company, say I did Christine's Cannabis, and then I decided I don't like that name. I don't want it to be associated with my first name, so I'm going to change it to ABC Cannabis. You can't do that on your own. You have to request through the commission. And then same with a change of location. If you're going to move for whatever reason, maybe your landlord is not the nicest guy and you say, I want to move down the street, you need to file an application with us before you do that. And we do ask, so to commence operations, you would send an email to licensing to say, hey, we're ready to open. We've done everything. We'll double check. And then we ask for 3 full days. So if you ask today is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you can open on Monday. So that gets people a little confused, but we will always sort that out for you and let you know what day you can open once you're ready to commence operations. Okay, so our useful tools, and I'm sorry, the links aren't showing up very well, but I'll explain them anyway. So again, Mass CIP is where you're going to start. You're going to create your username. And your application is only going to be accessed through that username. If you create a second one because your CFO wants access to Mass CIP, they're not going to be able to see the applications because they're only associated with one user. So something that we highly encourage is to use a general email. So if it's licensing at Christine's Cannabis, if it's Cannabis Control Commission emails at Christine's Cannabis, something that doesn't just go to one person in case they leave for whatever reason, they get hit by a bus, who knows? You want to have access to your licenses. There are video tutorials explaining how to use Mass CIP on our website. So that's going to be masscannabiscontrol.com/masscip tutorials. You can also, there's a great search function on our website. You can just type it in there and it'll bring you right to it. And then to create your account for Mass CIP, it's going to be masscip or massciportal.com/login-register. But if you just Google Mass CIP, it will come right up. Slide. Okay. And then in terms of things that you should be reviewing prior to submitting your application is going to be the regulations. And as we said, they are quite dense. There's a lot to read, a lot to interpret, a lot to understand. So we have tried to take a little bit of the guesswork out of it for you, and you can go on our website and view our guidance documents. So there are several different ones for community host agreements, licensure, a bunch of different topics, but the guidance on licensure is going to be your best friend. It's quite a comprehensive document that goes through the fees, the license types, the different documents that are required for different license types. Not all of the same documents for a retailer are going to apply to a cultivator and vice versa. So that'll kind of clue you onto what we're going to be looking for in the application. And like I said, at the bottom here, you can see our little banner from the top of our website. So public resources is a great place to go. That's where you're going to find a lot of these documents, but specifically guidance documents is going to be the place you want to look. Any questions? I'm afraid to ask.
I have a question. Will you be able to talk a little bit about how the host community agreement is related to licensing?
Sure. So every license licensee has to have a host community agreement with their municipality. So that is something that we would review we review every time you submit an application. So on your new application, you have to have one, and then we will review it subsequently every year after that as well, just in case there are changes or anything, or maybe we missed something the first time. So we will look at it every time. But that is something that you work out with the municipality. We don't necessarily get involved other than to review it for compliance with our regulations. Does that answer you?
That can be waived or
No.
overlooked?
There is an HCA waiver that is up to the municipality to offer. So that is something you can bring up to them. But again, that's something that you have to work out with the town.
What exactly is that? What is that called? What is a waiver for host community?
So it's exactly as it sounds. You would, instead of documenting a contract with the town, you would just waive that whole requirement from the town and submit a waiver that says they're not going to collect community impact fees. There's nothing we have to do specifically for the town. It just kind of is a form that just says this document does not apply. But that we don't waive it. That's something you get from the town. Yep.
Is there a minimum ownership percentage that the social equity applicant needs to maintain to?
Yes. So in order to have the social equity participant designation on your license, you have to have at least 51% ownership. And that can be split between individuals, but you have to be careful because if someone left, you could lose your designation. So that is, it's 51%. You have to have majority ownership.
And that's for the licensing fees, but is it the same for the metric waived fees as well?
Yes. Yep. So the designation would apply to your license, and then everything kind of trickles out from that. Yes.
What percentage does an individual have? Say if I want to give a percentage of my license to a friend, would they be able to operate as a cultivator if I am a delivery company?
So they could have their own license. I have to be careful about hypotheticals. So you can hold 3 of each type. So just because they have interest in your license doesn't necessarily mean it has to be vice versa. I want to say yes, kind of, maybe. Sorry, hypotheticals are really hard. I can't consult in any way because that's not my job. I can just tell you if you're in compliance with regulations. So that's kind of the line I have to walk here.
Who do we reach out to get the exact?
That would be either a consultant, a lawyer, someone outside of the commission that has the knowledge and skills that you're looking for. But that's probably someone you'll have to pay. Jess?
So the social equity participant is a status that you have that can be added to a license too. So if your friend wants to have their own cultivation business and you go into business with them, your status could be applied to them, not a license you already have going to them. Does that make more sense?
Hey, can I ask, is the social equity participation status Is the clock ticking on that? Once we're in the program, are we,
You're in the program. There's no expiry to
there's
the,
no expiration?
there's no expiry to your
I
approval.
did notice there's another call for a new cohort.
Yes.
So that's a new application period. So we are no longer referencing cohorts. That is something that I'm like super proud of or like, and very intentional about, because what's happening is that people are attaching success to cohorts. And everyone, as we have said in different conversations, everyone's success is different. Someone in cohort 1 could still not be in business, but the why is not attached to your approval, right? And so we do have a new application period that is starting, opening August 1st. I don't know why I have so many dates in my mind. So it's opening August 1st. It'll be going through September 30th. And we would do continuous review through the end of October. And so the intentionality about that is that you will be able to anticipate a new application period at the same time every year. So someone that could be eligible for this program will have an opportunity to apply every year. But there's no expiry once you're in the program. There's just requirements to percentages of ownership.
You don't have to continually reapply.
No, you do not. Because when you look at the eligibility criteria that got you into the program, there isn't any expiry on that. You live in a DIA, you like your income, the other two have an incarceration or an offense. So those things don't go away. Any questions?
I was just gonna-
Oh, I'm sorry.
There's it's not really a question, it's a comment in the chat.
You see it. Oh, perfect.
So you do have to have a property before you apply for your provisional license. If you don't have a property, there's nothing for our inspectors to inspect. So you do have to have a location when you apply for your provisional license. The only one that does not need an actual location would be for a delivery operator or courier. How that works is that you would first apply for a pre-certification. So that is just giving us kind of your business plan, some of your SOPs, your standard operating procedures, and just kind of getting the jump start. And what that does is once it's approved, you can go to the town and say, hey, I've done my homework. I know what I'm doing. Let me work in your town. So that kind of just gives you a little bit of a jump start there. So that does not need a location, but when you go to file for your actual provisional license, you will have to have a location. Yes.
I was still kind of unclear about the difference in the different courier versus transport versus delivery.
It is confusing. There's a lot.
Yeah, so so if those all exist already, what's the new license going to cover? The delivery license?
I'm sorry, I'm a little confused.
I'm so sorry. Like what new delivery license?
Wasn't there, were you just mentioning that along with social consumption, there would be a new delivery license?
So that's it. So the delivery license exists. But what is the current regulatory conversation that is happening is the exclusivity for that license type to our program participants. So right now, if you are not in this program or have a priority that is applicable, like an EEA, you cannot apply for that license type. So the conversation is, has the exclusivity period met the intent of what it was supposed to do, which is to provide opportunity. So the license type isn't going anywhere. It's just the exclusivity-ness of it, if I'm saying that right, is something that's being reviewed.
I understand.
Mhm.
So that term of delivery, does that cover all 4 of those different license types that you had mentioned? The courier versus third party? And there's one other one I think too.
So the exclusivity period only applies to the courier and the delivery operator. The third-party transporter and existing licensee transporter are general. Anybody can apply for this.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yep, there's one in the chat that says if you're an SCP, do you have to reapply every year after your first year? And the answer is, once you're in the social equity program, you've been approved, your approval is forever. If you're referring to a license, you do have to renew your license
Yes.
That doesn't impact your social equity program status, but you do have to renew a license annually. Your social equity program status is a one-time application.
I went through a lot of
And so-
information. Any
And so one's at the beginning. Are we revisiting those or no? Are you,
Before inspection, are you, I think the answer is yes. Is it a requirement for like all rooms in my establishment to be up to par?
So that would probably be a better question for the investigators. I'm not sure exactly what they're looking for other than what was in the presentation. So in terms of your provisional license inspection, probably not because you just got permission to get started. By your final license, I would expect that they want to see if it's not 100% complete, like you're very close, but it would be a better question when you get assigned an investigator.
You actually asked.
and I believe that investigations and enforcement and compliance provide a checklist. And so in that checklist, it should. So let me let you know, I don't use one and I don't do inspections, but I'm assuming that a checklist lets you know what you need at each phase of as you go through. So I would use that as a tool as well.
There's.
Yep, shameless plug for the curricula, right? The online curricula. You all have your access to Talent LMS. You could sign on, go to that specific course, licensing, inspections. There are specific courses online available, and they are from past years, but there aren't too many things that have changed in those areas. If there are, you can definitely, if you have those questions, you can reach out to us as well. But please, please, please utilize those resources online as well as the guidance documents, as well as reaching out to us in our department. We can help and support, but we know that the fastest way you have all this access, which is why we created the program, right? We don't want our equity applicants to be out with questions and looking at it as too daunting. We want to give you as many resources as possible to remove the barriers and to put you on the path to success for your journey, for your application process, for your personal career, whatever it will be.
Great plug.
I also want to give a shameless plug, I guess, to licensing department. Because I work with everyone across the agency, but what I do know is that their staff and their licensing managers, if you get I'm gonna say RFI, NOD, RFI. Here we go. Get my letters correct. If you get an RFI, and it could have a lot of things in it and it could be confusing. I personally know and have seen, and I'm copied on this communications quite often, that our licensing team, the staff and our managers reach out and will have conversations with you about what's in these RFIs and how to complete what it is. Compliance is hard in any field that you're in. So understanding how to overcome those hurdles, not only does my department support that, but our licensing, investigations, enforcement and compliance department, they all take a hand in making sure that you understand what these notices are, even if you get them in the mail or in the email and you open it and you're like, WTH. We're here to help you to get through that. So plug. Jessica.
You guys threw a lot at everyone today, right, with all of this, and you said courses are coming in the fall. What happens if I have a question like tomorrow as we're reviewing everything? Who do I reach out to? The teachers, you guys, licensing? Where do I go?
So everyone has like a dedicated email. You could I throw everything at everyone. So first and foremost, we threw a lot of information at you that we're covering between 2 to 5. Do I expect you to understand and have absorbed all of this? I do not. All of these resources are available on our website. Shameless plug to all the work that goes into building the website. I wanted to go back to a comment before we leave this conversation about guidance documents. We work really hard to make sure that if you put something in that search field, even if you spell it wrong, that it will come up, it will guide you and point you to the right document or the public meeting or the public resource document that is there. All of our publicly aware available documents are on the website. Just go to that top little search bar. I use it very often. So available on the website. You can reach out to us and we can, if someone could throw it in the chat, equity@cccmass.com. That is just for us, equity programming, but if we manage both inboxes. So wherever you throw the question, we will get it. We have equitycareers@cccmass.com. And that is really focused for our Equity Works career portal, which we will get into after our break. We have licensing has an email address, which is licensing@cccmass.com. That inbox is managed and monitored and answered questions by licensing managers and licensing professionals. All of my team has passed out business cards. You can call us, you can email me, and I'm available. And on top of that, the invitation that you received to come to this, what we did do is attach all the materials that we're going through today. And for the people that are in person, everything that we were talking about, any handouts, any curriculum overviews, all of that supportive information is also housed in your backpacks. This is okay.
Great. Other questions?
I do just want to add the caveat that if you email licensing, cannot answer hypotheticals, and it pains us to do that. So if you ask us a question, we'll try to provide you regulations that might guide you in the right direction, but sometimes we might tell you this is not a question that we can answer.
Right. Yeah, hypotheticals, like it has to be like, I'd like people to, like, when we reach out, hypothetical, I can deal with hypotheticals, right? Because it's programming, we're innovative, we're thinking about what your career path is, but when some of the other departments that we are engaging with and giving questions to, it's kind of like, would you want someone calling the RMV and asking about your driver's license and your driving record? We can't answer a question about somebody else's license, what their status is. What is also not a good practice is Salia's in business, and she told me that she didn't have to have all of her rooms ready when licensing told me that they all need to be ready, or investigations told me. We can't compare somebody else's journey to somebody else's journey, because what we can't do is discuss what Salia did throughout her personal getting to compliance and opening her doors, right? And so that makes conversation, I navigate those conversations all the time. This municipality did this for this person, and I can't, and Brockton won't do that for me. We are at the state level. So although we can put all of these practices and all of these things and all of these tools and all of these equitable measures in, we also cannot go down and strong arm the town of Salia to make them do business or have these types of businesses in their communities. And so that's where advocacy and all of those different things come into play. But those questions come across our tables often, and those are things that we can't address or fix. Actually, we're trying, but yeah.
All right, we are moving right along here. We are scheduled to take a quick break, and then we're gonna jump into our last few items on our agenda. Please take a moment to stretch, get some water, use the restroom, check your orientation packets, and get your questions ready, because we'll have a Q&A session towards the end. All right, so let's return back here in about 5 minutes. Thank you. You mute.
Lee, your mic is hot.
All right, we are restarting, so we're unmuted.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. We are reaching the end of our program, so I promise not to take up too much of your time. But my name is Frank Espinal. I am the project coordinator here on the EPCO team, that is Equity Programming and Community Outreach. We are sort of in the center of everything that you have experienced this afternoon. I'm very excited to share with you Equity Works Career Hub. It's a dynamic new platform for equity cannabis business owners to connect with people who aspire to work within the industry. So we're just going to walk through a couple of slides, and I promise to not bombard you with too much information. But I feel that, well, we feel that as a business owner, finding a viable resource, great employees is just as important as your licensing, your presence, your marketing, and all the other details that we have spent the majority of this afternoon discussing. So if you join me on, not literally now, I'll walk you through it, but if you join me on the Cannabis Control Commission's website, we will start off very much at the top right here. It says equity programming. Once you do that, there will be a box that says Equity Works. It'll bring you to this website. This website is a brief introduction, but it has two pathways here, one for job seekers and one for employers, right? So if you want to jump onto the corresponding path. Now, if you are jumping onto the path for the employers, what you will see is the following. You will see this image on the left-hand side. You'll see a couple of bullet points, which I'm going to visit in a second. And then you will scroll down and there'll be a blue button that says go to the booth. The booth is your cannabis operator's opportunity to craft your digital presence. And it's really important that every cannabis owner who operates on Equity Works finishes their booth, you put up your images, because it gives every visitor the impression of who you are and what is happening at your business. And I'm going to go into that in a second. On the right-hand side, there are a couple of helpful tips, and this is essentially what the platform is about. Darius Sands and I are piloting this program under the watchful eye of Saleha Williams, who is our fearless leader. And this platform is going to be a massive tool, not just in the hiring and recruitment, but also in the retaining of viable staff as you start to grow, right? Those are some of the good problems that we want. So on the right-hand side, you'll have tips on how to craft your imaging. It'll say stay mission aligned, use the platform to promote your workforce development, engage respectfully and professionally. So some of the things that you will see us encourage other folks to do, whether you are a cannabis business owner, but primarily if you are a job seeker, is to upload your resume, take a professional photo. All of those things matter. All of those things will make you stick out from the crowd. So if we go into a booth, then the booth would look something like this. Hold on a second. So this is an example of a successfully completed booth, and this is Forefront Ventures. And the advantage that this booth offers you is you are able to click here and get a little information about this company. Who are they? Where are they located? What part of Massachusetts do they operate in? You will be able to go to the lobby, and in the lobby, all the business owners are there. You will be able to pick an image that'll suit your aesthetic for your business, right? Typically a conference room or some sort of office setting. And then finally, you'll be able to focus on the job postings that Forefront has to offer. So if Forefront is my venture, and let's say I have Frankie's Kush, and then I can put up Frankie's Kush Groove, I can put up the history, our investors, some incredible pictures that you could take with a DSLR or a good picture, a good camera, an iPhone on a day like today, and you want to post it, you want to click on your job postings. And once you do that, you'll be able to see that this company is looking for a retail associate. If you click here, you'll be able to get a bullet point breakdown of what the position is and what they're looking for. The number one aspect that this platform will offer is that for free, you do have a video interviewing feature, right? So if you've ever dealt with LinkedIn or Indeed, those are fantastic platforms, right? If you think about retail, we think, as Saleha mentioned earlier, there's Target, there's Walmart, there's Amazon, right? When you're looking for work, there's Indeed. And the thing about Indeed is that it's great until you have to interview someone. And then you have to sign up for the $500 a month plan. This is a free feature that will allow you to cut some savings and identify some viable talent. If there are any questions, please refer to the equity careers email, which is the second one listed here. That is generally manned and operated by myself and or Darius Sands. We will get back to you immediately with any assistance, but we encourage you to come, create your digital presence, and have all the success in the world. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate it. Stephen?
Thank you. Rock star. I just wanted to point out a few things before we move to Stephen, before we move off of Equity Works Career Hub. I think that is very important, and I think it goes back to something that you had mentioned earlier when we started this program, and it is you're looking to establish your business, and you feel like because you don't have all of this 120 years of whatever someone is looking for, that people are overlooking you. This platform was built for a variety of reasons. I'm bridging the gap between licensees, employers, whatever word that suits you best, and job seekers. And the point is that we can't keep looking over people who have experience. And so when you're going into this platform and someone is seeking a job, because they don't have this, I pride myself on my resume, so my resume is 3 pages long. But that doesn't speak to, I'm good at what I do because I aim to be good at what I do. I know what I bring to the table, and I'm going to be the best at whatever it is that I'm going to do, or what you're going to teach me or require me to do. And we need to be expecting that when we're starting our business. So Equity Works Career Hub is for now. And it's for when your business is going, and it's for as your business grows, because you need people along that entire journey. And I need people to understand that life experience, legacy market experience is experience, and it is applicable to this industry. We should also be looking for people in our communities. It's giving back to the communities that we're building these thriving businesses in. Businesses are making money. The article went out. This is an $8 billion industry. Revenue is generated because people are spending money. So we are making money. So we should be giving that back to our communities, and we should be doing that intentionally, and we do that through employment. And so this is why this platform is super, super important in a variety of different ways. Our acting chair, our executive director, our commissioners will also be looking at the metrics that come out of this platform. We continually have licensees that are coming to our table and saying that we cannot find talent. We cannot find people. We cannot fulfill these plans that we've created because we don't know how to access them. The commission has given you a tool to do so. We are bridging that gap for people to come together. And so we need to utilize the tools that we are giving or giving the industry. And this is one of them. So I'm hoping that everyone takes part, no matter where that journey is. Within this platform, the social equity, approved social equity participants and certified economic empowerment applicants will have a priority booth for networking. I am planning on building this out so there'll always be a stagnant board for opportunities, networking opportunities, things happening in the events, incubators, scholarship programs. We should be using this tool to do all of this. There is no communication barriers here. The only communication barrier that I have within this platform is anything predatory. Any predatory practices or anything that is not equitable will be removed. And so that is it. Please utilize this platform to use all the things and tools within the industry. There are people in them. Yes.
This is available to the general public?
It is available to the general public. So this is available to the general public. Obviously, the public that would be hopefully interested in the cannabis industry. I hope that I'm not seeing like, please come work at Microsoft on this board. That wouldn't really be where they would come get people. But this is available to the general public. I do have a dedicated booth that is for EEAs and SEPs. And in that booth, you will also, if you're looking to brush up on your interview skills or brush up on your resume, how can I make this more attractive? There is a AI tool, excuse me, showing my age. There's an AI tool there to help you be able to do that. It's also network. What am I doing as a business? Can we come together? I think that I also want to break the stigmatisms that businesses can't work together. This is not a cutthroat system. Like, I will say that the legacy market might have been, but we can change that and we can change that environment. And this is one of the tools to do so. So I just wanted to highlight that before we pass it along. If you need to understand how to log on or any tutorials, all of that stuff is available on the website. Darius, were you going to say something?
Yes, I was. May I?
Yes, please.
Okay, I just wanted to add that today you can sign up for Equity Works and look at the job board. We are building on the model so that you'll have access to the networking board, the exclusive board for SDP, and for either looking for an internship or mentoring, we'll have boards for that as well. So, but as of today, you can register and build a profile page for the job board and explore some opportunities or post opportunities if you know them as well. So thank you.
And there's a bunch of different organizations. As we're wrapping this up, there's a bunch of different organizations. I know that we're gonna have a networking session after this, but we have Eon. There's so many different equitable networking groups. You can find them on, they have newsletters. There's so many, like, I'm just trying to be careful because I do not want to make it seem like I'm plugging any certain person. So people, then I'm getting, you know how that is. But there are so many different opportunities and so many people that I would love to shout out that are doing this great work. And so I know that you see, I want to even say Eventbrite is a good place to look, even if you just put cannabis. Now, everything in there, again, I'm not plugging Eventbrite, but if you put cannabis in there, you'll see different networking and things that people are advertising. I know a lot of social equity events that are happening there are on that web platform as well. If you don't know what their website is or are not familiar with the names, these events are happening because this is how I started. Once I got this position, I want to let you know that my background is human resources. I am a human resources and capital management professional for over 20 years. Love what I do, and serving people and making sure that people thrive is something that is important to me. So when I transitioned over to agency focused work, I didn't even know cannabis was like a real legal thing when I first started working here. And I come from a different jurisdiction in state government. So I had to get into these networking sessions. The first one I went to, I was nervous because it was at a brewery. I'm like, do I like sit down? Do I drink a beer? Like, what happens? And it was just having one-off conversations and understanding what the landscape of the cannabis industry is, being able to understand, like, and meet different people and run into people who are doing capital. And then I have to be like, I work here, so I'm not here for that. But those opportunities and those events and those networking sessions, they are beneficial because there are people in those rooms that you want to talk to or can be employed by or can partner with. So I think that is Equity Works Career Hub is amazing. Shameless plug. Stephen?
We got it. Appreciate it. I will stop sharing and I'm gonna go back to the presentation. Just give me a minute. Oh, jeez.
This gives me a newfound respect for public meeting. I want to let you know.
Yes.
It gives me a newfound respect, okay?
I know. We are usually not the team to run public meetings, as you guys can tell, for the best. Not to take too much of your time, but something that everybody's always interested in is access to capital in the cannabis industry. As you guys know, because it's still federally illegal, there's not the traditional access to capital through banking loans and all that good stuff. So what the Commonwealth of Massachusetts did, Executive Office of Economic Development manages the Cannabis Social Equity Trust Fund. It was, when did it, 2022, I believe it was passed into law, along with the Act, Chapter 180 of the Act of 2022. So it is meant to assist social equity participants on EEA to get access to capital in the industry via low-cost loans and grants. It launched in early 2024, and they just finished up a new application period. The first grant that were provided, or $50,000 to eligible social equity and economic empowerment businesses. Now, I want to say they awarded $250,000 was the highest tier.
But 500.
$500,000 was the highest tier awarded. So there are different tiers now for the Executive Office of Economic Development, and they'll release more information as it comes on the next application period. But there are certain tiers that are with that come with different stipulations, what you can spend it on, and things like that. So keep an eye out. We work with them closely. Although our program participants are eligible for the program, we do not manage that program. It's with the Executive Office. Joseph Gilmore, I will throw his name out there.
Shout out.
On the website. Joseph Gilmore is the fund administrator. His phone number and email is on the website. Any specific questions about the Social Equity Trust Fund, you can reach out to him directly, and their general emails on there. If you would like to reach out to us, equity@cccmass.com, we can help you guys get some of this information, but we're probably gonna direct you right over there.
Right. And if you need to like get to their website, like mass.gov, like government, we're a government agency. So mass.gov, if you just did keywords, cannabis, economic officer, even if you did EOED, I have searched it different ways. Mass.gov is how to get there if you don't know their specific website. The Cannabis Social Equity Advisory Board also has a website where they just literally had a public hearing on July 14th. So their meeting minutes, if they're not already published, should be up, but previous meetings about discussions about the trust fund is on there. A percentage of, I'm gonna say this wrong. A percentage of the tax revenue is what is funding the actual Cannabis Social Equity Trust Fund. So I guess the real core of making sure that we brought this up is that as an approved, the core at the top of the fund opens the application. If you are not an economic empowerment applicant or a social equity program participant, you cannot apply. It doesn't matter what other eligibility requirements are underneath there. If you do not meet those two, you can't apply. And so this is a fund that is specifically for you. Eligibility, disbursement of funds, administering it, approvals, disapprovals, going back and forth. Again, this is not something that is administered here, but when it does open, I go through the application. We're a sister agency. We work with them. We do Q&As about how to move through an application period and get our participants ready. And so if and when the application opens up, we plan on doing a webinar and hosting something in Talent LMS.
Okay, so you guys will reach out when that's ready.
We always share information as it comes up, but keep an eye out. So that's for our newsletter.
Yeah.
So that's where information will come. If we have a newsletter on our website, you can sign up and you'll get emailed directly when the information comes out. Keep an eye for equity@cccmass.com emails directly from us. Those aren't automated. We usually send those out directly, so all good information is in there. And like Celia said, keep an eye out on Talent LMS. She mentioned we're starting live instruction in September or in the fall, but we have updated information and resources on that website as well.
And all
Everybody
things,
again has access to.
yeah, and all things usually happening like to this, another shameless plug, not just because I work here, but my communications team, my press team, they make sure that these are coming out in as soon as we know something. Like it's all about when we know it. So, and they'll do press releases and highlight that this is opening. Our commissioners say it in public meeting. They're always actually talking about the Social Equity Trust Fund. And so when the application is open and how to apply and what that period is, through all of these channels that we have available to us, we try to make sure that we amplify that messaging. You're welcome.
Any other questions? Anything online?
Oh, no?
Good
Oh,
stuff.
look at that. I like it.
I did
One more.
any other information about how you would be, what would make one eligible for these grants or loans?
Less eligible.
Or more, if there would be any sort of.
More likely to get funding?
So what I will say is that the Economic Office of Development, alongside the Cannabis Advisory Board, they take feedback in, we collaborate with them. They understand different different flavors of where licensing is. So as you see, when they first did the immediate needs application period, that was for people who needed, like, I'm about to close my doors, my rent is due, I'm about to be evicted. Maybe that might be drastic, but that's like immediate needs. It literally is what it says. And then as the second round of applications came out, it was different tiers. So let's use tier 250 to 500. That tier was for someone who is Salias Cannabis, is already up and running. You know what? I want to expand, or I want to bring on, let's just use expand because I don't want to get too specific and hypotheticals, but I want to expand my business. And I'm showing all of the applications for requirements for that would have to justify that. If you have an immediate needs, just present that. I think that all of the other things that you would want when you are granting a business money, I think that they've infused that. There is still an accountability process to it, right? And so they're not just handing out money. They're accountable for their processes as well. I think just having all your ducks in a row, right? And so I think that my hand in that is just to make sure that you have all the information available. So I think someone would be less eligible. They even have like the lower tier, which is $25,000 to $50,000 for someone who is about to be provisional, but you haven't really attained licensure yet. Integrated business solutions, they're supposed to be able to apply too. That is a non-license touching, licensed cannabis, like regulated license touching business type, but they're still looking to service those types of businesses. So I think less prepared or unqualified would really just probably be not following the directions in the application. That's what I think.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I would suggest to go on EOED's page. They have.
Oh, they have the old
past-
application.
Yeah, in the past, there in their application cycles have done Q&As that they've recorded and they have on there to just prepare applicants for successful
Sorry, what was
application.
that website you said?
So it's mass.gov, and you could put in Executive Office of Economic Development.
Right.
And that would take you to their page. And they have hearings, Q&A calendar, that could take you to past presentations where they've walked through their application process and talked about what a successful application could look like. So that could be a good resource for you. And we have done events in the past.
Yeah, I have an FAQ document that I can share, like.
Yep, we have an FAQ document and we've done events in the past. I don't think we recorded the event.
No, we didn't. They were in the community in person. And we had an FAQ document that we worked with EOED on about just frequently asked questions that they were getting. It is also it is also a process that is evolving because right now they're just doing grants. They also have the ability to do loans. And so this is also a process that's going to evolve as well and more. So I would just keep an eye out about their website and any communications. I believe the Cannabis Advisory Board may have like a newsletter or notification thing that you can sign up for too. So you can get it'll be pushed to your email address about what's going on with them.
They've all.
I'm done.
Clarification, not Cannabis Advisory Board, Social Equity Cannabis Advisory.
Yes, I'm so sorry. Yes.
Which
Trust fund.
is on the CCC website or the mass.gov website?
Mass.gov.
Mass.gov, okay.
They're also on mass.gov. They post the businesses and applicants who have successfully
Been
got
awarded.
grant funding.
Mm-hmm.
So I would also, if you can, reach out to them individually as a networking opportunity to ask. Some of them we know personally who will be willing to share a little bit of information on how they were successful in their application.
Yeah.
I would do that as a networking.
Great.
And to that point,
listing.
that was a part of the community outreach that we did. They came to the meeting and said how they moved through the application. So we'll also try to, that would probably more, if it opens this year, just for transparency, my event would more than likely be virtual, but
Yeah.
everyone would be more than welcome to attend.
Any other questions from anybody? Anything online?
Nothing online.
Nothing?
Great.
That is,
Look at that.
we're at
We
a
did it.
Q&A session?
Yeah.
We're at Q&A networking. If there are any questions, like I'm a firm believer that like, when I say knowledge is power, I don't think that I would have made it as far in life and achieved what I wanted if I didn't have either someone teaching me, holding my hand, sharing knowledge, and evolving me in my mind. And if you don't know something, you can't do it. You can't be better. Every day is a new day. And no one has done the new day before. We're all doing it for the first time. No matter what. And so please feel free to ask any questions. If this is not the forum for you, please, our email addresses are there. I truly, truly appreciate your attendance today. I hope that you guys enjoy your bags, and people online, I hope that I see you, we come across you at one of our events that we will be doing in the future, and you will get a backpack and get all of the goodies that the social equity program wants to infuse in your journey. You're welcome. Thank you guys online.
Yes, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks all. Have a great day.
Thank you. Very, very good. Thanks.
Thank you. Hi, Barbara.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? I'm so glad that you're here today.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I wouldn't miss it. I think you did a dynamite job, and I thank you, all of you, for covering so much in that time period. It was very informative.
Thank you so much.
All right.
I see you in a